The time is exactly 3 minutes after 10 o'clock, and online we were meant to be talking to Pilani Mhlungu, but I believe he's not available. Mr. Modiba is standing by to talk to us. He's head of communications at the Gauteng Department of Health. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Julie. Let me correct you right there. Chilani is works with me. Is just one of our media liaison officers who was facilitating so that you can have me online. You were meant to talk to me. I'm not there replacing anyone.
Okay, I do apologize for that. That's what my controller has told me. So, you are the head of communications at the Gauteng Department of Health. Thank you for making the time out to talk with us this morning about a very worrying situation regarding a copper pipe theft at Chris Hani Academic Hospital. What is really heartening to see is that the issue was spotted almost immediately and very swift action was taken to remedy that. But how worried are you at the Department of Health about this is outright sabotage and thievery at government hospitals, and at stake here we are talking about innocent vulnerable people who could have died in the process.
Yeah, well, we are concerned. I mean, if someone tampers with oxygen supply lines, and you've got patients that are on life support, um, there's only one outcome that you can probably say is anticipated. You're likely to, not even you're likely, you are putting patients' lives at risk, and someone, fortunately in this instance, we do not need fatalities, but it's very clear that that kind of an action demands the harshest possible reaction because it automatically puts patients' lives at risk, especially during this period. You now experiencing obviously more and more people who need trauma and emergency services, and it means our ICU and emergency areas are quite busy during this particular period. And to have someone tampering with the oxygen supply lines is just not acceptable. It makes you wonder as to what level have we descended as a society. If people think that they can get away with doing something like this. What is worse is also that while we fix this particular problem, on Wednesday we also experienced another challenge where, again, in a different plant this time around, someone tampered with the copper pipes which are supplying high pressure water to our theaters. Two of our theaters were affected, and you know that in a theater you need your autoclave machine system to be able to sterilize the equipment for you to run to do operations and so forth. And if you don't have that high pressure water supply, the autoclave system cannot generate steam that then is necessary to sterilize the equipment. So we had to then divert the patients and provide services to them in a different ward. So that again points to a malicious intentions to actually um, cause havoc within the healthcare system and actually cause a situation where lives would be lost. And hence we have reported the matters to South African Police Services for them to actually probe this. And we've made a call that the perpetrators should actually face an additional charge of attempted murder, given
Mm.
the circumstances of this incident and the fact that a hospital like Bara, hospitals are national key points. And if you are taking a hospital like Bara, it essentially means you are taking society, you are taking the community that depends on this particular services. So we hope that the work that the police are doing now, looking at the evidence that is available, would enable them to quickly apprehend the suspects so that we can then put an end to this.
I want to make a comment. A couple of years ago, used to bring a family member regularly to Baragwanath Hospital, and I was very, very impressed with the facility, the layout, the equipment, the professionality of medical staff. Yes, one did have to wait one's turn because of the huge numbers of people that attend the hospital on a regular basis. But it ran at the time, I'm talking just pre COVID, it ran like absolute clockwork. That was point number one. Point number two, security was unbelievable. Even when you entered and when you departed the hospital campus, your car was searched, which is very impressive indeed. So I'm kind of wondering, and also let me just add the third point. I was very impressed with the infrastructure at the hospital. It compares very favorably with, with a private medical facility. So very well done to the Gauteng Department of Health for the upkeep of our state hospitals. I'd like to hope and pray that all of them are managed in a similar fashion. But I was duly impressed with Baragwanath. But that being said, one questions, because of such tight security, how is it possible that the perpetrator was able to do what they've done? Does it not then point to the fact that it might be insider work? People that know the system, know the layout of the hospital, know exactly where to go to find the copper piping.
Well, those are some of the things that the police would have to probe. But indeed, if you look at where the two plants are, you have to exactly know what you are doing, and you have to know the access system there for you to be able to then maneuver your way and actually tamper with the pipes. The people who did this, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew where to cut and so forth. So it obviously is something that the police would have to investigate. Hence, we are of the view that there's two things. It's an act of sabotage. It's also criminality. And we would want the police to thoroughly probe this. Of course, internally, we also have to look at the current systems that we have in place. The current security arrangements clearly is not adequate, and certain things would have to be done differently if we are going to be able to secure that platform. You'd know that hospitals are naturally safer spaces in a sense that you don't expect this kind of incidences because all of us
Mm,
depend on a hospital at some point or another.
absolutely.
Even during war, um, health healthcare workers, there's a rule that you don't attack healthcare workers, you don't attack medical personnel because we provide services indiscriminately. So now, if we have a situation where then people are taking advantage of the free movement within our facilities, and then we have this kind of incident, you can imagine if you have a hospital that is like a military zone where you can't
Mm,
move, you can't really, it then becomes, um, you know, no longer a place of healing if you have to
right.
be constrained in that fashion. And I think we're going to obviously evaluate our current security arrangements at not just Bara, but even at other facilities to ensure that we strengthen the current arrangements, to ensure that we find a way that we can work more closely with various stakeholders to ensure that we don't have this kind of incidences. I need to also indicate that insofar as, because you raised the question to say it looks like there could be inside people involved. We're not obviously ruling that out because we've had incidences in other facilities. In Charlotte, I know we've had incidences. In Subuke, we've had incidences now here at Bara previously where employees have had to be dismissed. I know that through
Mm,
our sister department, the Department of Infrastructure Development, which is responsible for maintaining our facilities. And actually, they are responsible for the plans, the very plans that we say unknown people gain access to. We as as health workers, we don't necessarily have access to those particular plans because they've got special access and so forth. Many of them, um, they had already charged about 13 employees, 6 of which have been dismissed, 7 of which they're still undergoing disciplinary action for being involved in various actions. Um, some of those actions include theft, some tampering with equipment and so forth. So you can't completely rule out that it could be that it's an inside job of people that are colluding with outside people. But the bottom line is that the police needs to prioritize this kind of incidents and make sure that we bring this matter to an end. And also, the community can play a very critical role. We're seeing a new trend now in our communities where there are two things. Communities know sometimes where who's doing certain wrong things and so forth. And I think have the law enforcement agencies bring those people to report them so that the
Mm,
law can take its course. But also
absolutely.
secondly, we would not want the communities to also take the law into their own hands, because when you do that, it then creates a situation where it becomes difficult for people to come out in
Mm,
future um,
mm.
when this kind of incidents happen.
Absolutely. I must say that we must commend the nurses in Theatre 15 and 16 for being so vigilant and having spotted that something was amiss and having investigated it and, blowing the whistle on that issue, and moving the patients. Very quickly and not endangering the lives of anyone. So, highly commendable. Their action was really very, very commendable indeed. And we do hope and pray that you guys do find the perpetrators and deal with them in the harshest possible manner, that they get the harshest possible sentence. Like you say, they will be charged for attempted murder. We will keep a close eye on the story and we'll get the developments as they do unfold. Thank you indeed, Head of Communications, Mr. Modida at the Gauteng Department of Health. Go well and a wonderful festive season to you.
Thank you.
It's exactly 10:15. That brings us to the end of the show for today. I thank you indeed for your company. Hope you enjoyed all of the interviews and our guests on the show. Thank you to our controller, and that's you, Tolani, for running solo once again. Till well, I'm not sure. I think till next Wednesday. It's the holidays, guys. I'm not quite sure what the schedule is going to look like. So I will have to just check out with the producer and our COO what's happening for next week and the week after. So if you hear my voice, you'll know that I wasn't allowed any leave. If you don't hear my voice, you'll know that I was granted some well deserved leave to just rest up, kick back, and relax. So, till that happens, you stay safe. If you are going away, please take care on the roads and make sure that you spend some real quality time with your loved ones. And Allah watch over each and every one of us. As always, it is Assalamu alaikum and Khudafiz from me, Julie Ali.